At least face to
Okay,
face.
got
Hey
it.
everybody,
Yay!
how's it going?
Good. Well,
This is the Spy Party Competitive League Week 11 cast. So this is actually just we're just recasting random games throughout the week. Not just random games, but very excellent games representing as much of the community as possible. Trying to hit uh, players and games that we missed throughout the season.
random games like Assassin's Creed and chess and
Yeah. We got
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Assassin's Creed multiplayer. I heard it's you know, pretty
pretty
much a
famous.
rip off of this game. Kind of shameless, honestly, but you
Yeah.
know,
Maybe some ship thrown
yeah,
in there.
yeah. All right. Anyway, by the way, we got Nanthalus here and Slappy Davis as the casters today.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. Yep. So you guys sound good. All right. So let's start looking at these games here. We got the first one is a week 2 game from Royalflush and FalconHit. Now, from what I can tell, I believe, at least as of now, FalconHit has very much locked in first place, I think, in gold.
Yes, I believe that's correct. He's locked in first, and I believe Noob is locked in second place.
So
But
I haven't actually played Falcon Hit as much. I know a lot about Royalflush because he's been around for a long time and he was in a league with me a season or two ago. Can someone
Yeah.
talk to me about Falcon Hit's playstyle? Because I think he's got some sort of esoteric style.
No, I don't quite remember. I believe was Royal Flush. I feel like I was in the same division as Royal Flush at one point. Maybe not.
You were, because it was 2 seasons ago, I believe. So two
Yeah.
seasons
Okay.
ago, he would have been the same one where you would have been in the same one with me,
Yeah,
and
that
then
was
you got
season
promoted
2,
up.
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Platinum. Yeah. Okay. So I remember maybe having a rough go of it that season. But
mhm.
yeah, but I mean, Falcon Hit is kind of on a tear this season. It's and I actually didn't even look at the results of this match, so I don't actually know what
Yeah,
happens, but we'll see.
it'll
Let
be
me
a
look at
surprise.
we can look at picks and bans at least. Starting off, Royal Flush was the first ban. He did banned Gallery, interestingly.
Mm-hmm. Gallery
Gallery seems to.
map with a
Sorry.
lot of visual noise can be hard to kind of see what's going on, especially in the back
Yep.
of it, and a lot of people don't feel comfortable on it. It's easy to get overwhelmed on both sides.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a map that's tough for some people, and also spies who play a little slower have trouble on Gallery because it's deceptively a big map, can be really
Mm-hmm.
easy to get behind.
I
Of
also
course.
think it's one of the maps that if you don't have a specific strategy going into it, you might be at a disadvantage because there's a lot of I would say very particular, maybe not like kind of cheesy-ish place. I don't want to kind of say cheesy. When I say cheesy, I mean like specific one-off kind of ideas that people have tailored for gallery. And it can be intimidating to know that if you don't have one of those tailored special strategies for gallery, you
Yeah,
might
like
just want to get rid of it.
pick Penguin basically.
Pick penguin, do
It's
some like knowing the oddities of how like the
yeah.
back of the conversations work with the books, like knowing all that information, you might want to see get rid of it
Yep.
if you don't know it that
I
well.
would agree with that. Anyway,
Yep.
the next ban, a sensible ban from Falconhead if he's going up against the behavioralist potentially is high rise.
High Rise is a scary map when you're not really that comfortable playing those Softel maps. You
Yeah,
know, you have
I
a
would
lot of
agree.
time, but it's just so easy to get shot for doing anything in a small party like that. So sensible ban coming out from Falcon Hit.
Although it's a little weird in the context of his last pick, but we'll get to that. First pick from Royal Flush, very common pick, Ballroom.
Nice standard
Yeah,
map,
yeah, we
makes
see
sense.
Ballroom a lot. I mean, I've seen it banned a few times, but that's pretty rare. Usually shows up.
Hmm.
All right, and the next pick, another map that's seen pretty often this season is Library. Just
I'm actually a good fan of Library. You know,
yeah,
it's
a
a
lot of people
large
are.
it's a large map, but because it's so wide, it never feels particularly crowded. And
Yeah.
because you can only see maybe a third of it at a time, you don't typically feel that overwhelmed visually as a sniper.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I've played it quite a lot. I think it's been at least picked, if not doubled, a good majority of my games.
We'll probably talk about this when we actually start looking at the map when it gets played. But I love the fact that library actually has meaningful laser placement choices.
Yeah,
Where again, you can flick over real quick to kind of bait, but it actually has the real ability for the sniper to bait. Where other maps, it's kind of harder to tell where the sniper's looking at. You know where the
yeah,
sniper's looking at.
yep.
Hmm.
And then the next pick from Royalflush is Pub, a very interesting pick.
That might just be because he's British.
Yeah, yeah, you know,
Yeah,
it's like he's home. Could be
feels
true.
comfortable there.
Yep. Oh. Okay, and then the last pick out of FalconHit, kind of interesting in the context of his. Oh, am I getting these back? I'm getting these backwards, aren't I? Anyway, but here I'll swap these out. The last pick is Balcony. There we go.
Interesting.
Right. So the thing about so we're talking
Yeah,
about the difference between high rise and balcony,
yeah.
correct?
They are definitely different.
Yeah, and it's interesting because high rise, you feel like you can miss stuff
Yeah, there's a lot
while
more
they be
subtlety.
behavioral things.
Yeah, a lot more subtlety going on in high rise.
Right, and I actually think that's kind of an underexplored aspect of the game so far, just because of the nature of the maps we play.
Hmm.
Right now, the behavioral-ish maps, that as we call it, balcony, you see everything, right? I mean, you might miss the arm of a bug, but you see the actions and placement of people. High rise, you can miss behavioral tells, where
Yep.
you can actually be doing something off screen because of all that awesome. I love high rise for the static cover, more static cover than basically any other map that you actually have to switch around, and so you can miss behavioral tells. So it's behavioral map that you have
Yep.
to be active on. I kind of like that distinction. Although again, I'm bad at that, so I'm probably banned it too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think with with balcony, it's a lot easier to catch like etiquette tells. You're gonna and it's kind of easy for spies to make them in balcony where everything even the smallest path is super crucial to get right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Balcony
better
is
than it once was, but yes.
Balcony is almost it's a map where you camp behaviorally, I want to say, because you can see everything happening
Yeah.
at the party and you want to use as much information as possible. A lot of people use camping strategies, except, for instance, looking at talks or pathing or stuff on Balcony. So it's it's a behavioral map, but not behavioral in the same vein as High Rise, for instance.
Yep. Okay, and I agree. And anyway, with that, let's look at this the first round here. We're on ballroom. Royal Flush has ended up being the first spy here. We got good old text going, and let me get cast.
And by the way, this voice is Slappy Davis. The previous voice was Kletos, and this next
This
voice
voice
is
is
Nantalus.
Nantalus.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, I'm the voice on the left. All right. Anyway, and we're ready to go.
Sounds
Yep.
great.
Awesome. And we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Royalflush starting off here is Tex on the spy side. Ballroom. Ballroom, I'd say, is one of the better maps you want to be starting on spy side because spies can tend to get away with a lot of stuff on this map.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things we talk about in general is the fact that there's a ton of dynamic cover, meaning that there's emergent cover kind of changes over the course of the map. It's not dependable because it depends on how the conversations are filling up. And so it's kind of fun. Like right now, the conversation that we're in doesn't really provide cover unless the sniper has a particular angle. And we're
Yeah.
stepping in for a triple inspect, I would assume. So we're going to have an early highlight. So we're trading off early mission progress for the fact that we might get tracked a little bit. But some highlights are not created equal. And, are we going to get the last inspect off? No, we're not. And instead, we're going to be swapping.
Get a green swap there, so if Falcon hits on that center statue visit, which he might be because again, it is center statues and more suspicious, we could get an early shot on Royalflush here, or at least narrow it down to 2.
The green swap direct took kind of a while, so I don't think it's going to be so obvious right now.
Currently
for,
off screen for
okay.
Falcon hit. It's blocked by the leftmost pillar.
All right, so I have a question for you, because I would be thinking this exact same thing if I was playing. Do you try to finish now, or do you take the 2 minutes and kind of just wait it out?
So, shot
doesn't
comes
matter.
off. I guess that question won't have to be answered.
All right, so Falcon Hit correctly identifies the person that was at statues when they swapped. And then I'm guessing it was suspicious enough that the swapper immediately went to a bookcase to be not suspicious. Here's one of the underrated things about swapping, green swapping middle statue. Not only are you green swapping, but you're getting someone to go to middle statue, which increases their suspicion, right? So that's actually kind of a great spot to middle if they don't notice the swap animation, that is.
And a lot of spies, they'll like to do something like a swap and then head to windows or a painting or something like that to kind of seem less suspicious. But Royalflush goes straight back into a conversation, which might actually help mitigate some of that spy-like behavior.
Yeah. And I think actually I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the reason that there's the delay on Jackson was he was at blue bookcase when he started getting called over. So from Falconet's perspective, Jackson was at blue, went to center statue, swapped, went to green bookcase, right? So from his perspective, that could be 4 missions if he's done with
Yeah.
flip.
Potential mid-game rush there happening.
Yep.
Right.
And also the fade was completely, the statue fade was completely off screen. It was being blocked by a pillar.
All right, so reasonable shot, but basically that came down to missing the fade. But if you see someone, you don't know if they green swapped or not, and then you've seen that like basically 3 mission sites and credit them flirt, I can understand that shot.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right. Anyway, next up we got FalconHit's go as spy. We'll see how he does. And 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, starting in as Duke. We probably want to jump into this conversation. I think on Ballroom, most relative to most maps, there might be a good sniper strategy of looking for who redirects, because it's pretty consistent to do a like within the first 5 seconds take over control and just really spin around. Because most maps you can it's harder to see that redirect, but Ballroom, because it's basically a big rectangle, it's it looks a little bit more obvious to me, but it also could be that I'm zoomed in on the spy with a green arrow above their head that I'm able to see it.
And we did do that right there. Looks like Duke was headed for green bookcase at the beginning, did a little U-turn to get our first flirt. And we're actually going to split to a pad and then come right back for the second flirt. So Falcon Hit's trying to get this done pretty quickly.
Yeah, so we're at 84, so we're guaranteed finish any location. Kind of have a good bug path if we really want to take it now. When I say good bug path, the arm would be blocked. A little bit less good now. Oh, maybe reverse. Oh, he tries for it, but it doesn't happen.
So at the end of the bug there, he actually tried to walk through the conversation and get a bit closer to the AMBA to try and let it take, but unfortunately didn't serve him well. But this allows him to enter back into the conversation and get the third flirt.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, it's hard. You'd have to make a pretty hard commitment to look for flirts this early in the game, but he's going to get away with that, even though he went to that same conversation in and out 3 times. Unless someone's committing really hard to watching it, it's going to be tough to catch.
The thing is, all of the locations that he left to were also in that area of the map, so he's not creating much visual noise for himself walking back and forth across the party. And stepping in here to center statues, it's fingerprintable.
So if Falcon Hit is watching fingerprints, this should be a huge highlight for middle statue and fingerprint. But does not really seem like it. I thought we were going to go for maybe a statue to statue, but that's not quite happening. Now, in this particular situation, I guess we're just committing to the double agent, which is the quickest way to finish, but it's also something that someone who goes to center statue and finishes the second senior print exactly what they would do after they were done.
Oh,
Interesting.
looks like we're going to nix that plan and head to the bookcase instead. Now he could still go for the banana bread, just waiting a bit longer for maybe some other people at the party to gain suspicion. Looks like that might be what we're doing here, but double agent leaves.
Ooh. All right, so and double agent's gonna be tied up for a while. We cannot commit to this, so we're gonna go for a bug. We got to.
Wrong arm coming out. Looks pretty clean, but we'll see if Royalflush takes the shot. Safety off on Tex. No shot comes off. So that bug was unseen from Royalflush. It was a nice wrong arm. Duke was holding a book, so that probably mitigates some suspicion for that bug path he takes.
Yeah, I mean, props to FalconHit for just getting it done when he had no other choice. He really wanted to get the DA, but he also, when he initially stepped in, really didn't want to send off the banana bread, because if FalconHit was counting soft tells, that is one of the key trigger points where the sniper will actually shoot for a soft tell game, is when they actually get the double agent, is it kind of forces them to.
Yes, I think that might have been a blessing in disguise. A double agent might have gotten him shot there, especially if he was on top of the fingerprints. You know, he went fingerprintable briefcase to fingerprintable center statues in a row.
Yeah, that was an interesting, aggressive soft tell game where he rushed the soft tells and then basically was stuck doing a hard tell. But the hard tell, he was kind of fortunate that Ambassador was in a good position for the bug, but was noticeable if he was zoomed in on it. You can see the start of the arm animation, but I think Royalflush had other things in his mind at the time.
Mm-hmm. Any case, that's 2 spy wins so far on Ballroom. We'll see if FalconHit can kind of take the expected sniper win in his next game.
All right. Anyway, we're on. Yep. Okay, so we're on the next one. I was just updating stuff again. We got Seek Spy. Nice. All right, I'm ready to go in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
All right, using our big, strong Seek legs running across the ballroom. I believe Seek is the fastest character in SpyParty. I can't remember where the analytics bore out on that.
If he's not the fastest, then he's definitely up there.
Yeah, well,
Tries...
Taft is supposedly the fastest.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Seek is up there for sure.
Tries for a cheeky little bug there at the blue bookcase. Almost comes off, not quite, but probably unseen because, like we said, that left conversation is quite full and it's providing a lot of cover.
And the great thing about cover in this map is there's also a different aspect of cover, because right now, for example, the conversations are a bit split, meaning there's large conversation on the right side of the map, large conversations on the left side of the map, which means the attention where the snipers actually be focusing their eyes is drawn to opposite sides of the map, and they're not going to see as many of the peripheral tells that you might expect.
Mm-hmm. We did pick up a fingerprint from the briefcase earlier, and stepping into side statues gets us our second, along with a couple of inspects. So this is strong mission progress for about a minute and a half in. Oh, and a swap comes off from Royalflush at that back statue.
I think he really wanted to green this one. Um,
and a bug coming
nice.
into the second set of statues, and we could finish in specs here for a mission win. This is a nice rush coming out from Royalflush. We have a swap, which probably has not been seen or not credited to us yet, and that's a mission win.
Wow, that is an aggressive game. I like it. So I think he made the calculation that I have a certain amount of time before that swap gets noticed. Because if you remember, the first game that he won was because of a noticed statue several, or a little bit after, like a delay of like, I don't know, what's it, like 10-ish seconds after Jackson had left the statue. And then he had shot. So if he thinks the same thing would happen to him, he's got to finish before that would happen.
Yeah. That's a really clean rush coming out from Royalflush, in that he started off kind of slow, but as soon as he started doing missions that might risk him suspicion, he tried to just finish all 4 of them and get out of there.
Makes sense based on what he knew of FalconHit from the first game. So yeah, great rush, great decision. It was a bit of a risk, but definitely paid off.
So we got all spy wins so far. Real spy party, you might say. See if let's see if FalconHit can keep that up as wheels. Going 3, 2, 1, planet.
So an interesting thing to note is that every ballroom game thus far, the spy has planned on doing statues, and looks like there will be no change here as FalconHit starts off at a side statue.
It is really hard to avoid the call of the statues on this map. We only pick up one inspect, and we pick it up on the middle statue. That is interesting because that commits us. If we go back to this set of statues, that commits us to middle statue to finish. But I mean, it's probably not a big deal. He's probably just going to go to the other statues at either spot, probably just not middle statue over on the left side of the map. But that's I don't know if he actually intended to do that.
An interesting consequence, actually, is that if FalconHit wants to finish with Inspect Swap on this map, you tend to want to do that at those back statues. And now if he wants to do that, he'll have to do it at the back center statue, which, depending on whether or not Royalflush is keeping up with how many inspects FalconHit has, that can either be not that suspicious at all or incredibly suspicious.
And we bump into Ambassador pretty hard. To me, that could have hidden a bug. I would not be able to tell whether or not that person bugged or not as sniper. So he might have gotten a little bit of suspicion there without any actual mission progress, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yep, looks like we're idling for a bit. May try and chase our ST for a second flirt. But yeah. Royalflush, it's tough to tell how suspicious of FalconHit he is at this point. Between the early statue and a potential bug that might have actually been invisible if it had actually gone off.
Yeah, I'm curious. All right, so he looks like he's focused in on seduction target when wherever seduction target lands. He might do a quick little reversal. Okay, we have white purloin. This is probably the moment either Royalflush catches this or he loses. I think because I think Falcon has a pretty and takes a shot on Teal. So was she in the reject chain? I don't think she was, but she had a drink in her hand, so she can't have been in the reject chain.
She was the last one to take a drink, I believe, before it was offered to FalconHit.
Gotcha. So so FalconHit or Royalflush assumed that he had missed it by the time it went to wheels, and then when it came out, he was remembering who was the last person that I saw.
Did he even? I mean, it doesn't look like. I mean, he didn't like specifically look at the tray, but I don't know if he actually noticed the list was gone or not.
Toby was turned around to walk back to wheels for that offer, and there's a lot of cover back there, so it's possible that he just didn't have a chance to get a good look at it.
I don't know. What I'm thinking, I don't think he actually even saw the list gone. What looks like to me is that Amber walked right by, and you can see her arm go down as the idle animation. I think he just thought that was a bug.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, wow. I kind of hate that because I think I would have bugged. I think I would have thought it was a bug too.
Yep. It does. I mean, yeah. It does in fact look like one.
Interesting thing is that Teal actually got highlight for taking a drink right before she went to Windows. So that's probably some behavioral stuff on Royalflush's part. But he was definitely suspicious of her for other reasons.
Sorry, I'm kind of obsessed with the timing of that arm extension, which she's relaxing arm. Now, if it would have looked as bad if she didn't have a drink in her hand too, because both sides of her body would have done it. But because of the awkward one arm is held stiff by the drink and the other one kind of floats out like that, it really does look like a bug. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's really unfortunate. I'm sorry,
Yep.
Royalflush. That actually,
Yep. And of course,
I
Taft
completely
Amba, you're expecting a bug to happen.
right.
All right. Anyway, on to the next one. Let me know when you're loaded in. We've got Rocker on or Royalflush as Rocker on Library.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ready whenever.
Both ready? All right, awesome. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Rocker
So,
is low key one of my favorite characters, by the way. I think that she's completely underpicked. She's got a pretty good speed. She's not very tall. People don't like her aesthetic, so they don't pick her as much. She's one of my favorite spies.
mm-hmm. Oh, nice little bug coming off on the Amba.
I
Highlight
think,
for it.
yeah, I now we're not shooting because we know we have time, but we are really high suspect. Uh, I'm sad to say that I think this game might be over because he's already tunneling a bit. It's going to take a lot for him not to get tunneled.
Yeah. I think the intention there was to walk by Taft and bug as we were walking past, but we got a little bump which pushed him in front of Taft, and that arm is sticking way out as he's walking backwards. So a bit unfortunate on the pathing side. In any case, we're still playing this game, getting one fingerprint from the briefcase and what looks like chasing our seduction target to this far conversation.
Yeah, I'm just kind of focused in on how much time FalconHit is spending looking at Royalflush. I'm curious to see actually how FalconHit responds to having a pretty good indication early on, and whether or not he's willing to accept that there might be some blind spots. Um, and like how do you play this kind of game out when you're tunneling? Do you always keep them on screen? Well, if you're going to do that, you may as well just kind of shoot. And I want to see how good of a job he does managing the party outside of watching Rocker.
And another thing is, if you know that Rocker has a potential bug, how is she acting around the AMBA? What is she doing in response to maybe taking bug paths versus intentionally avoiding bug paths?
Mhm.
In any case, side statue happens and a green swap happens as well. Let's see if we'll get as lucky as we did on that first ballroom game with our green swapper getting shot.
I think we're gonna be. Oh, actually, we're not zooming in on. Oh no, we are. We are totally zooming in on it. I think this is gonna be it. Yeah.
FalconHit's all over that green swap.
All right, and we have our first sniper win.
Snipers,
So-
they win sometimes.
Yeah. All right, yeah, that was he was not falling for that again. Yeah, a lot of tunneling and what happens. Let's see how
Yeah.
that.
So
I want to look at that bug from the sniper's view.
The end of it looks. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it
can.
was that was awkward. Yeah.
yeah. So FalconHit didn't actually see the animation on the swap, so
Yeah.
he didn't know for sure it was green, but there was just so much suspicion
Yeah,
against
there
Rocker at
was.
that point.
Yeah, at that point. Yeah, it's pretty. You're pretty often not gonna see the animation on library, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
unless Smallman's the swapper.
Yes. For those who don't know, between a white swap and a green swap, the green swap kind of fade animation from one statue to another happens much more quickly. So you can actually tell the difference between the two.
All right, here we are. We got the next game. FalconHit as spy. He is sort of, I guess you could say, broken serve on sniper win. So we'll see if he can increase his lead with a spy win here. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so normally it's the other way around. You start off with a bunch of sniper wins and it's up to the spy side to break serve. But it looks like with 4 spy wins on Ballroom, it's very much a different game this time around.
Yeah, and Ballroom being one of the more balanced maps relative to the other ones that are in Spy Party, especially for an any four of map. The other any four of maps, I think, they have quite a bit more sniper bias. Gallery being a somewhat of an exception.
Mhm. Gallery isn't sniper biased because sniper is so easy. It's sniper biased because spy is so hard on that map.
Correct, right? There's just so much distance to cover that eventually you end up rushing. I think gallery. I mean, I'm in a soapbox here a little bit. I think all maps could use like 15 extra seconds if the map is already sniper biased. Because some of the maps there's just so much travel time that the spy doesn't have as much time as I'd like for them to be able to sit and think. They're kind of more reactive, but the game's in a good spot right now, so I guess I won't complain too much.
Getting 2 flirts quick, not quick, nice slow start on this library game. It's interesting because we've seen a lot of, not afraid to do missions from either spy player in this set so far. They're definitely either finishing missions early game or getting other people shot for green swaps, stuff like that. So FalconHit's slowing it down this game, getting 2 flirts and pulling out a yellow book in the first 2 minutes.
And I would say it's been an interesting mix of wrong shots and of early-ish spy wins. So that the problem for the snipers are they want to shoot early, but they've also just been burned for shooting early. So now they basically have to decide. Hey, so it seems like they've each time there's been mission progress. One of the spies might try to shake it up a bit by showing a couple hard tells, doing a banana bread, and expecting the sniper to shoot, because the snipers have seemed pretty able to shoot. And here's an example of that.
Okay.
Let's see what happened with this.
He was at Bookcase, so potentially saw a microfilm animation or a phantom microfilm animation at least.
Now that's funny because we remember from the first game he almost shot, or from his first sniper game, he almost shot Tex at the bookcase. There might just be something about Tex where Royalflush thinks that he's always doing microfilm.
I'm trying to see what we got highlight for it. Okay, yep, side statue look like. I think.
He had also just rejected a drink. I don't know if that means anything.
Yeah, I don't
But
know. Well,
Royal
I mean,
Flush,
the
Royal
furloughing
Flush
didn't
does
happen,
tend
so
to
I don't
snipe
know.
more behaviorally. We'll see.
I mean, so it might not have been a microfilm animation. He might have mismemorized the place the book came from, for example. So
That's
there's a
possible.
lot of
Yeah,
different
he did.
things. But yeah, that one's a little hard to read because there's little idiosyncratic things. Like maybe he thought that he was like saw like a flirt rush or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Tex did do his
regardless,
page turn just
Yeah.
before getting shot.
Yep, possible. Although if you see that at one bookshelf, might just want to wait for the next one to happen. But you never know.
Mhm.
never know.
Anyway,
Alright.
FalconHit does indeed break serve and goes up 4-2. Find out if you can extend that lead right here. Let me just find. There we go. All right, we got Royalflush as Teal Dress, also known as Mom. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I like that decision from FalconHit last game to kind of slow it down on the spy side and allow Royalflush to make the mistake rather than trying to force something on his own.
I also love the decision of Royalflush to be teal dress on this one, because worst case scenario, he gets the character that screwed him over in Ballroom Shot. I'm very vindictive that if I feel like a character burned me in a previous game, I'm gonna be spying them pretty soon, because then I get to put myself in a bit of solace where at least we die together.
Either you get a mission win or you get your kind of rival shot. It's a win-win.
Exactly. Either you forgive that character and they get you that win back, and then you guys are square, or you guys hold hands and jump off a cliff together, kind of thing.
Into the void. Quick purloin coming off from Royalflush. FalconHit's not sure enough about it to shoot, and he's not getting that many lowlights off of it. So that's about as clean as a purloin can come off on this map.
Now, the interesting thing about Purloin on this map, and actually Purloin on most maps, is there's sort of a double-edged sword to Purloining early. For the rest of this game, he doesn't have to track Purloin. that is a significant that's a significant mission to have to track the rest of this game. So, for example, if you fill in the void of purloin tracking, that's a lot more space for microfilm and bug and looking for fingerprint animations. Or sorry, not fingerprint animations, looking for fingerprints.
Mhm.
So FalconHit has the interesting. Oh, wait. Okay, all right.
Bug comes off.
There's a lot of
and-
interesting things that could have happened, but
Yeah. That's possibly a time when you can talk about sequencing and you want to talk about maybe the bug comes off first and then the purloin comes off. That might be better.
right, because I don't know if we ever came up with an actual term for this, but one of the suggested terms was, I think, was flags, where if there's a visible marker that remains the rest of the game, that shows the mission has been completed. Now, you could return the list on Perlin, but most people don't.
Yeah.
But if you do bug, there's nothing visual that remains, and you don't know that it's done. Now, Purloin, you know that it's done, and then you can just sort of write that mission off in your mind. I agree with your sequencing comment. Now, the flip side of that is maybe at some point the person that was also near the purloin gets some sort of heat, and you narrow down your suspects, and it's a large map, and maybe they do something suspicious and they get shot, but a little bit tougher that way.
Yep, and the other thing, that particular kind of bug where you're walking in the opposite direction of the ambassador is generally a bug to avoid doing. I mean, library is one of the maps where you can get away with it. You know, you're going to be off screen a lot of the time, but in order to do that, in order for that bug to take, you either need to both be very slow characters, or you have to, physically run into the ambassador and sort of, you know, rub against them for a little bit, and
And
gonna,
then you've got some bouncing, and you never know which direction you're going
yeah.
to turn in that case.
Right,
So
and
it's a very risky bug.
the problem with the bouncing on library is normally the bouncing wouldn't be so bad, but then it means your wrist is going to be flicking out in a direction perpendicular to the sniper's angle. So they'll be able to see the arm much more easily. Relative to other sites of bouncing, it's one of the most deadly, just because it really confirms that the arm is out. It also could legitimately FalconHit's Royalflush's. I want to know what this bug actually does look like. Then I want to see this. All right, that's what it looks like. Right, that does look a lot like the idle animation that she had.
Yeah, maybe. All right. Anyway, with that, FalconHit takes a pretty strong lead. We'll see if Royalflush can recover here and perhaps snipe a little more carefully and not phantom anything. In 3, 2, 1, planet.
The other storyline here is, I believe FalconHit is Canadian, Royalflush is British. So this is a little bit of a war for independence going on here, reasserting Canada's separation from the Empire. I forget how long ago it was. I think it was more recent than America's. I think it was in the last 100 years or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. Someone can give me the knowledge.
The War of 1812 was a thing, so I believe it was after America's independence. But my Canadian history is not quite up to par, unfortunately. In any case, starting off once again slow with a flirt. And we're orange sorry, so whether we like it or not, we're definitely going to be a bit slower on this map. And
yeah,
we actually twitch into kind of the cheesy spot on library, where if you're at the back of that conversation and you're a smaller character, you can actually be hidden behind the pillar.
Banana bread.
We're gonna banana bread from right there and then walk away.
and do we get the low light? No. Okay, that's a big moment where part of the reason I think that he tried to sneak in there was, one, he was kind of hoping for an ambassador to come by and he could get that bug. And then two, maybe if he banana breads and bails, it's just this person that's walking out of nowhere. You didn't see them in conversation, they get a low light. But FalconHit is highlight for the bail. And then or actually might just be for center statue. I could be lying.
I don't know if I like the idea to use that spot for banana bread, because like, sure, you can use it to like avoid a highlight for a white BB, but it doesn't give you that much help if you're planning to BB split, because they never saw you outside of conversation. If any, like, they saw you come from nowhere or come from somewhere that they weren't keeping track of, and if anything, that's more suspicious after a BB.
Right. I also think that he was just. I think he just put himself in that position, thinking maybe Ambassador comes by, and then it's like, all right, Ambassador's way far away, not moving anytime soon. Let's just get this banana bread.
Yeah, not wanting to slow down too much. Finishes flirt at that back window. We have 3 soft tells done, but we're going to have to do something that's a bit more abrasive coming up soon.
We're hoping that Ambassador pads into this conversation, gets a reverse bug, but it looks like he's going to take the other side out, so not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, time's getting a bit short. We only have a minute, 10 seconds left.
We might be setting up for another reverse bug. Now, this reverse bug's not as great. Oh, nope, we're just going for a real bug. Yep, okay.
Not. Yeah.
I think that might have been seen.
Yeah, maybe. Royalflush looks like he's guarding that bug pretty carefully. And when the amba's on the edge of the map like that, you almost expect someone to be bugging soon. So you want to make sure to guard it. It looks like there might have been some laser lag as well, because right before that, Royalflush had spent a decent amount of time over on the right side doing some stuff at statues. So it's possible that FalconHit just wanted to get that bug off completely off screen.
Yep.
I think you're right, but I also think that Orange Sari is one of the worst characters to do an off-screen rush by bug, because it's going to take forever for you to get there and get out.
Yep. All right, and that was I believe that was Royalflush's first sniper win.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's right. We've been so spy heavy this match that I think that was the first one.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway, we're moving on to Royalflush's own pick of. Let's see, we got Pub, and we got got Andrew Ryan for the first time, also known as Walt Disney or Pencil Mustache.
And remind me at the end of this match, one of the things that we should talk about is Royalflush is running the SpyParty Summer Cup.
Oh yeah.
I won't bog us down while we're still in the game, but just let's not let that slip by.
All right. Yes. Let's go with this next one in Pub in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So the score is now 5-3, I believe, favor to FalconHit. So it's up to Royalflush to kind of pull it back. He does get an early bug, but highlight for it. I'm not sure if I like that bug.
No. I think that maybe he thought he was a little bit faster, the Ambassador, but the arm was silhouetted against the back of the Ambassador rather than being stuck inside of the Ambassador's model, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Go ahead.
Well, I just know that sometimes when I'm spy, and then while I'm in AI control, I notice that there's a bunch of great bug opportunities for me during the Time of Chaos. I'm just like, I should have done it, and then the opportunity presents itself again, but it's a less good opportunity. I feel compelled to take it because I didn't do it the first time.
Yeah. He may have thought there was also a bit of just Time of Chaos-ish stuff happening to maybe give him some leeway with that. But the primary thing that you're watching oftentimes during Time of Chaos is the Ambassador. So that may not have been the best decision, but in any case, not immediately shot for it, so we still have a fighting chance on this game.
And I definitely think that's true on Pub. What are you going to look at during the Time of Chaos on Pub, except for Ambassador? There's not much that can really happen. Purloin is at the bar, so that's one of the other things you can get away with quickly in Time of Chaos is a quick little Purloin, right? But there's not really much to look at. There's only a couple of statues. As long as you get those memorized, no one's going to rush right there. Someone has to go to the bar first to Purloin. I mean, you have to wait for someone to land into a conversation circle to seduce, and you're probably not going to be looking at Time of Chaos anyways. So you're right that bug is basically the thing you look for on
Banana
Pub.
bread.
Mm-hmm. We do return a fingerprint list briefcase, so possibly trying to earn some points there. We are in circle for the banana bread, though. All in all, a pretty good banana bread for Pub. Usually you don't see this many people in conversation.
I do think that the fourth mission is going to be really tough for him, given the fact that he's going to have to do something pretty obvious, either two fingerprints, purloin. We're just going for swap. This is the moment of truth. It either happens right now or not. Or sorry, not swap, inspect.
I think inspect warrants a shot, especially if FalconHit is suspicious of that bug.
Yeah.
You only need that one hardtail on pub, but it looks like the shot is not going to come off. 2-1, and Walt Disney
Ooh,
gets
that was
ahead.
fantastic. Think the was that a two? No, it was a three flirt, but that
It was a quick,
quick two, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
quick little.
Yeah,
thing
he
where
did
tried
a
to get
timer
in.
flirt, and then he left and came back. Left to get the briefcase, came back. Yeah, I'm not
Mhm.
sure what what FalconHit was thinking there with that with holding off. If he had credited the bug and then and the BB, you would have expected the flirt and the inspect, but maybe he was tunneling on somebody else. Hard to say. Actually,
It's
let me
Yeah.
should look. I didn't. I was looking at. Let's look at that bug from the sniper's view. Yeah, oh wow, that is really visible.
Let's see. Yeah, that arm zooms right out.
Yep.
It's possible that late into the game, FalconHit, you can forget what you highlight people for.
Yeah.
And maybe he forgot that Walt was a huge suspect for the bug. Maybe he thought, oh, it's just a highlight for like a weird
Yeah. Who
conversation entry,
knows?
or
Yeah.
I don't know FalconHit's highlighting scheme,
Yeah.
obviously, but it looks like he's highlighting for statues. So maybe he just forgot that he had suspicion on Disney. It's possible. It happens.
Yep, it's possible. Anyway, so now Royalflush is back to within 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll see if he can get another sniper win here against Alice. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, we apparently were pre-gaming and we came to the pub with a drink already, and we are stepping into a useless conversation for now. Probably gonna bail and do a flirt if we can.
Mm-hmm. So the AMBA here is small man, which is going to make bugging a bit more difficult, but not completely out of the question. We leave that first conversation pretty early, step in next to our seduction target for a 51% flirt, and the DA is also in this conversation. Not a great banana bread opportunity right now, though not the worst that Pub has seen.
Yeah, no, you were right that particularly that last game, great banana bread for pub. Usually because there's this split of the map into the conversations side of the map and the
Banana bread.
non-conversations side of the map, it's also really easy to collect the lowlights on banana bread. So it's not just that a lot of people are outside of conversation, you can easily tell who was in and out of conversation. It's reminiscent of high rise, where there's the side of the map that people can be on when they're banana breading, and there's the side that they can't.
Mm-hmm. And another important thing to note is the people who are outside of conversation and in the bar, what are they doing? They're FalconHit banana breads, and he lets off at least 2, potentially more statue highlights who are currently inspecting statues. And inspect is such a point of suspicion on this map that that's a big loss for FalconHit in terms of other suspects for Royalflush to look at.
Yeah, indeed. That's something where there's the idea currently being floated about spylighting. That is a spot where pub would actually benefit quite a lot from it, because the obvious or the instant mission credit that someone gets from going to statue means that most people highlight for statue. Oh, wait, we step in for a bug right here. That's going to just be invisible. That was great placement from
Yep.
FalconHit.
That bug spot is great on this map if you know that the amb is heading outside, because that kind of wider door pillar thing between the Irene Adler and the Food and Spirit sign kind of provides a huge amount of cover for the bug.
Right, and if they're coming from the long side of the bar and going outside, they're gonna curl around the near side unless there's someone blocking the path. So it's a reliable spot to get a reverse bug.
Mhm. That spot is kind of weak if the sniper rotates around and kind of looks at the bar head on, but in the kind of standard sniper angle for this map, it renders the spy pretty much invisible to do that bug. And now we just need one more flirt from any distance to finish off this map because we grabbed our inspect as well while we were inside.
Right, so as long as seduction target doesn't bail, yeah, we don't mess around. We just get that thing right off. So speaking of that angle, the tree that I usually don't credit much with doing anything on this map, the tree is what prevents snipers from really liking to hang out on the left side of the map. They don't really want to be there because that tree is blocking so much of the insides. If that tree wasn't there, more snipers might be hanging out on the far side of the map because they could see more. But it really, that one piece of cover really just ruins being on that side of the map.
Mm-hmm. In any case, FalconHit does manage to get a spy win there.
All right, so once again, he's up 2, and in fact, he has just locked in a draw. So the best Royalflush can hope to do now is win the next two games and earn a single point for this match. We'll see what happens.
Well, if there's a map where anything can happen, it's
Oh, yep,
definitely
it
balcony.
is. Yep, it is balcony. That is absolutely true.
As long as that anything isn't inspect related or swap or
Yep.
microphone related, anything can
Mhm.
happen in your imagination except for some of the missions that aren't in there.
Yep. Yeah. No bookcases. Actually, there are bookcases and statues on this map. They're just out of
Inside.
reach, unfortunately.
And that's a hard tell to break the window and
Yeah.
come through and swap at you.
It's very, very hard tell. So
Unfortunately.
it's actually just hard to do. Ooh, and we got Alice twice in a row now. Oh, and the laser is right on her. Oh man, it's not looking good for
Rough start to the
Royalflush.
game.
If FalconHit's feeling lucky, no.
The insta shift shoot.
Yep.
It's a
All right, we'll
heralded
find
strat
out
on
if
balcony.
FalconHit does that. Probably not. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, that's say probably not because this replay is longer than 1 second.
Banana bread.
I'm in caster mode, so I don't know.
Immediately banana breads. So we do get one low light from that in general, but overall not too bad. Our first flirt is some distance away, but it's a green, so it's 44%. Still able to 3 flirt with 2 more close whites.
So the instant banana bread, the really, really early banana bread, puts a lot of interesting pressure on the sniper the rest of the game because it puts all of the flirts that they see in the context of once the last one goes off, the game is just going to end. So that's a pretty good move if you think that you can force them to shoot at some point. Because the other thing that an early banana bread, even at the cost of someone being outside of conversation circle, kind of indicates is a possible bug went off. But bug looked pretty safe, so that the sniper knew it was just an early banana bread, nothing else to really read into it. But now, right now, we might be stepping in for another flirt, or anybody could be really stepping in to finish flirt. And there's no highlights going
We get
off.
a far green flirt for what could be an unconventional 3 flirt with a lot of distance on this map, and that's going to allow us to finish missions quite cleanly, actually, with 37 seconds left.
And wow, with that, Royalflush closes in, bringing us to the last game of this set.
Mm-hmm.
See if
So,
Royalflush can pull off the draw.
Interesting to note, no highlights at all.
Yeah,
that
just
game.
one low light.
The only lighting that occurred was on the certain low light on general.
Yeah, I think I've seen at least some players not bother too much with highlights on this map just because it's such a small map. You can just see everything.
True.
But
possibly.
this
was Falcon
that could have
pick as well.
that could have possibly hurt him. Maybe Falconhit was just looking for etiquette stuff. and he was just expecting to shoot the first person he sees to break something. We'll find out if FalconHit can secure that win as the spy. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, planet.
So Royalflush here is sniping in order to tie it up with FalconHit. FalconHit stepping his general close to the seduction target here. And starts off with a white flirt. So we're not going to be able to two-flirt this.
I also just want to give just praise to Royalflush in general. I know this is from week 2, but FalconHit has established themselves as a really strong player in.
You might want to take that back.
All right. All right. I'm still gonna praise Royalflush. That's an unfortunate. Okay, so
I think that was that a water shot?
That was definitely a water shot. Which I mean, okay. So here's the thing about the water shot. Okay, and I should explain. The water shot is shooting for a talking animation during the banana bread. We call it the water shot because Wodar, a particular player, has relied on it many times to win. A lot of balcony games. Wodar actually is a good balcony player.
It should be mentioned that this is mainly a strategy for balcony. There's only one conversation.
Right, and where it actually really matters, being able to see who all the people that are talking in a CC could be. Yeah, that is a bit interesting. So the other thing about it is it was a fake.
Yeah.
It became a fake because Double Agent left, but
and also it was a white, so there were two talkers.
General was also talking,
but he was sort of, but it's almost you can't quite see it quite as well.
Banana bread.
I think
his hand, he was a little bit covered by Papa Danger, and his hands are a little less animated when he talks.
So I think there's a bit more that goes into this than just the Wodar shot. Because Irish enters the conversation when there are 5 people there. So, first of all, she enters. Second of all, she quick talks. And that's just in general spy-like, but then the banana bread comes off. And it makes it look like she was entering and wanted to get the BB off quickly before anyone could leave to give FalconHit or to give Royalflush hard lowlights.
Yeah, and also I think that Royalflush might have been suspicious of a reverse bug.
Banana bread.
Ambassador joined in right behind Irish. Difficult angle for Royalflush to know exactly if a bug had went off. And as we talked about when the last early BB went off in the other game, sometimes early BBs betray an early bug where they just want to finish the game right now because they think that they can get in the you know that the sniper would know that you couldn't be done with flirts at this point in the game. So if you banana bread and they're not sure about the bug, you're just going to win because they're not going to shoot in time.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of like, actually it was an early shot, but it actually was not a totally unreasonable shot.
Yeah. Like Warning Track said, there's probably some bug fear thrown in there because otherwise the shot would not have come off this early.
Yeah. And okay, so I'm going to jump back into praising Royalflush's. That's a reasonable shot. His shot on Teal Dress earlier in the match in Ballroom, that was actually a reasonable shot. This could have easily been a tie for Royalflush with one of the strongest players in his divisions. In his division, and sometimes I think that we underrate Royalflush a little bit. Legitimately, the dude gets just unlucky sometimes. And I remember that from, I think it was the season 2 that where we were in the same league. And I remember benefiting from some of the times that he got unlucky. I want to say that he's one of the unluckiest players. Because I just recall there's been a lot of times where there's been really, really reasonable problems that he shot for. And he actually plays pretty well. I think his record at this point is a little bit biased.
Yeah. Looking at this like retrospectively, FalconHit has definitely come out to be one of the best players in gold this season. So the fact that Royalflush held his own there and almost forced the tie towards the end of that set definitely speaks to his skill as a player.
Right. And if you just swing over the 2 games we mentioned about, he would have won. Like if this one wasn't as binary between winning and losing. I suppose the Teal Dress one wasn't either. But yeah, you swing either one of those games, it's a tie. You swing both, it's a win. And it's against a player that I think a lot of people would have seen FalconHit winning this game or this match maybe like 7-2, 7-1 even. But FalconHit, or sorry, Royalflush taking it to full set.
Yep.
And we should quickly talk about Summer Cup, even though it is a competitor, the SpyParty competitive league. But Royalflush is also the administrator for, I think Summer Cup's been around for 5 years. I want to say, if anyone can confirm that,
it's,
5, 6
it's
years.
actually older than the SCL.
It is. It's older than I think even the latter.
Yeah, possibly.
I want to say, which was the pre
Yeah, that
SCL
was-
thing
yeah.
for the people that have been around for a long time. It is one of the oldest competitive. Oh, sorry. It is the oldest competitive tournament that is still going on. It's a lot of fun, and one of the things that separates it from SCL is it has a static map set. You know exactly where you're going to be playing, so you can prepare for it. You know what to expect. You can come up with some interesting strategies as spy well beforehand or sniper. I think the signups filled up really quickly. I made a mistake. I thought that the signups had already opened and no one was signing up for it. And I was really, really, really sad because I was like, why are people really that sick of playing competitively? I was really surprised that the challengers and the new players weren't interested, but it's because I missed the fact that the signups actually hadn't begun. And then once they did, it was immediately the fastest we've ever filled up the tournament by far.
Yeah. I think in the past, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the past it's never actually filled up to all 32 spots. And this time around it did that incredibly quickly. So I think it just goes to show how much the community has grown in the past few months because of Steam release and all of these new challengers in SCL wanting to get a bit more of a taste of competitive SpyParty.
And different tastes too, because I like SCL a lot, but I also think that sometimes we forget about tournament structures, like the other kinds of tournament structures that exist. Also, it's been kind of fun because this is the first time in I guess 4 years where it has come about the same time as the World Cup, and Royalflush very deliberately took the structure of the SpyParty Summer Cup to mimic the World Cup structure. So there's a group play. And then there's also the same kind of tiebreakers that would exist in the World Cup. So if you enjoy the structure of the World Cup and like you're itching for more World Cup, that's a perfect tournament to watch. And I hope that we'll be casting something like some of the things. There might be more independent casting of those matches. I don't know if there's an actual structure for it. Usually people can just kind of jump in and cast it as they want to. Maybe after the SCL season closes, the Summer Cup will still be going on. Maybe that's something we can do on the Saturday and Sunday ones.
Yeah, maybe that sounds good. We'll see.
And
Anyway, we can probably move on to the next match now.
Sure.
We got
as a quick
Veranos
note.
versus Cameraman. This was a week